Let's kick things off with this quote from Jim Scrivener because it just hits so close to home for a lot of us. You know the drill. We set a writing task, the students go off and do it, and then we collect it and cover it in red ink. But it's that gap he mentions, that space between setting the task and collecting it. That's where the real magic or the real struggle is supposed to happen. And way too often, our students are left to navigate it all alone.
And that really brings us to the fundamental question, doesn't it? If we're not in that gap with them, are we actually teaching them how to write, or are we just becoming really good evaluators of what they produce on their own? In this explainer, we're going to dive into how we can finally start to fill that gap. So, to get started, we've got to make a big shift in our thinking. We need to look beyond that final, perfectly polished piece of paper. This is all about changing how we see the act of writing itself. Okay, let's break this down. This table really lays out two completely different worlds. On one side, you've got the classic product approach. It's all about the what, the final essay. Is it correct? Are there errors? The teacher's basically a judge. But the process approach on the other side, it flips that on its head. It's all about the how. It focuses on the messy, creative, and, let's be honest, sometimes frustrating stages of writing. And here, the teacher's role transforms from a judge into a facilitator, a coach. And that right there is the big idea, the huge paradigm shift. We stop seeing writing as just a static thing to be graded at the end. Instead, we start treating it as a dynamic journey. It's a process where students often discover what they even want to say while they're writing. Honestly, embracing this one idea is a total game changer. So that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in a real classroom? Well, this philosophy gives us a practical, repeatable cycle. This is where we turn the theory into action. And here it is. This is the roadmap. You see, it's so much more than just saying, okay, go write. We start with pre-writing, just getting ideas out. Then we move to a first draft, maybe using something like fast writing, where the goal is just fluency, not perfection. And then step 3, this is absolutely crucial, feedback and conferencing. This is where peers and the teacher get involved. Then comes revising and editing, before we ever get to a final product. It's a supportive, structured path. You know, Jeremy Harmer really hits the nail on the head here. This whole process isn't just some abstract classroom exercise. It's designed to mirror what skilled writers actually do in the real world. So we're not just teaching them how to pass a test, we're teaching them the actual skills of being a writer. But okay, having a great process is only one piece of the puzzle. For writing to feel real and meaningful, it needs a purpose. Our students have to know why they're writing and who they're writing for. And this is where the genre-based approach is so incredibly powerful. It starts with a simple idea. You don't write a formal lab report the same way you write a casual blog post, right? So instead of teaching these vague, generic writing skills, we get students to analyze and really deconstruct the specific types of texts they'll encounter in the real world. To do this, we essentially become text detectives. We take a genre, like a cover letter or a news article, and we break it down. We ask, what's its purpose in society? How is it structured? What kind of vocabulary and grammar does it use? By figuring this out, we're basically giving our students the architectural blueprint before asking them to build the house. All right, so we have our process and we have our purpose. Now, let's zoom in on two fantastic techniques that can really bring all of this to life inside the classroom walls. First step, joint construction. And trust me, this one is amazing. Picture this. Instead of just explaining how to write, you and your students compose a text together, live, right there on the board. You think out loud, modeling your choices. Should we use a semicolon here? How can we make this sound more persuasive? It literally makes the invisible internal process of writing visible for everyone to see. Another really cool technique is called dictogloss. Here's how it works. You read a short text to your students at a normal pace. They can only jot down key words and phrases. Then, and this is the best part, they get into small groups and have to work together to reconstruct the original text. It's this incredible activity that combines listening, collaboration, writing, and grammar all in one go. Okay, let's pivot for a moment and get really practical. How do these advanced methods help with one of the biggest hurdles for our students? I'm talking about high-stakes exams, specifically the IELTS. We all know the IELTS writing section can be incredibly tough. Students are wrestling with complex charts or crafting nuanced arguments, all with that clock ticking down relentlessly. To get those top band scores, you need incredible coherence and organization. And let me tell you, This is exactly where the old just write and I'll grade it approach completely and utterly fails. So how do these new approaches help them succeed? Well, think about that moment of pure panic when a student stares at a blank page. By making pre-writing and brainstorming a habit, they have a strategy. They know how to quickly map out their ideas and structure their response before they write a single sentence. It's a massive game changer for managing that pressure.
And what about pushing for those really high scores, those band 7s, 8s, and 9s? The skills needed there, like spotting a weak argument or improving logical flow, are precisely what students practice during peer feedback and revision. They literally learn to think like an examiner, finding weaknesses in their own writing and helping their classmates find them too. So, as you can probably see by now, when we make this shift from product to process, it fundamentally changes what we do in the classroom. We're no longer just the person at the end of the line with a red pen.
The modern writing teacher is an active participant. You're a facilitator, guiding the flow. You're a coach, giving that key piece of advice during a one-on-one conference. You're even a co-constructor of text sometimes. Your main job is to build the scaffolding that allows your students to climb higher, not just to measure how high they got on their own.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. If we truly believe that writing is a process of discovery, a journey for our students, then it's on us to provide the map and the tools for that journey. The real question is, how can you make your classroom the starting point? What's one small step you can take tomorrow to start filling that gap?